Welcome to our video number 2 about this is going to be more on the solution based. First, we're going to look at the problem and our present conductors that are dysfunctional, and then we're going to see how to basically eliminate just about every pain point in a group that is existing now. And so the purpose of this is to basically show you that every group of people, including yourself as an individual, is a conductor. And understanding why that can make your life easier for your business and increasing your net profits for you and everyone else. Teamwork makes the dream work. So this is our current wage-based model. If we think about how our current bigger businesses work, and it's why there's so many employees leaving the workforce. We have these limited liability situations because you've got a wage-based employee. And the company net profits is only going to be as good as the efficiency of that conductor. So when we look at that and we see, basically every wage-based employee, which is usually almost, just about everybody, is in a limited liability situation and that's the agreement that you're working under, because you're actually a separate organism. Since your wage is disconnected from the net profits of the company, you're a different organism. So this is a completely separate conductor than, the head of the company here. And so that limited liability is in direct opposition. So that relationship is in direct opposition. So it's in everybody's interest who is in a wage-based employee and not an incentive-based employee to do as little as possible, because any mistakes they make is in not the best interest of this person or the group of people that owns the company, which means that they're going to create limited liability against these people who have an agreement has limited liability against these people. So this is a conflict of interest within a business, which is causing a breakdown in communication, right? If there's an accident, then people are going to have a tendency to lie and not trust one another, because it's in these person's interest to place the liability on them, and it's in these guys' interest to place the liability on the company. This is not a healthy relationship. Not only that, but hierarchical psychology develops because you have difference in potential and positions. So if this position pays more than this position over here, these people are all in competition for that job, which means that every single one of these relationships is generally dysfunctional. The third thing here that I've listed is controlled from the inside. When you're controlling from the inside, you're ignoring the fact that you're controlled by consumer first and product second. This is the male and female circuit that your business is interacting with society. You have to serve the consumer first by creating a product that they need. And with all these resistances acting on the inside of this business, that they're all conflicts and differences in potential that are decreasing the efficiency of this overall conductor, which means that the product is going to be very poor for what the consumer needs. All these communication lines are breaking down, and the product is going to suffer, and what the consumer gets is going to suffer. So all this equals dysfunctional relationships, poor communication, and no creativity. People don't want to go to work. So you have poor work ethic, and everybody jumps into social cliques. The reason they're in social cliques is because they just want to create as much happiness as they can while going to work, right? Inside of this dysfunctional system. Low employee retainment and lower net profits, right? Because the whole organism is very inefficient. So even though this person or group of people is retaining more money, it's actually lowering their net profits, which means it's lowering how much they're taking overall, and it's going to be harder and harder to pay these wage-based employees, which is what we're seeing now. These poor dysfunctional environments are forcing companies, well, we just got to lay people off because our net profits are suffering, so we just need to take more in. So greed is killing the situation from both sides, and this is something that most organizations aren't realizing. So on the flip side, if we get rid of all of those resistances and create an equal incentive by co-ownership and a localized accountability I'm going to explain what localized accountability looks like here in a minute, but let's go through this list first. You have no competition for positions. So if every single one of these positions pays the same and only grows over time, depending on your qualifications, then there's no competition for any position. So this means that people are going to naturally gravitate to the positions that they are most suited for. Not only that, but allowing these people to just elect who they need to be, maybe the head of the department. There's always going to need to be a head of the department or a leader to organize people and help people, get along. And because relationships are still very complicated, and even if you have equal incentive, you still have to hold each other accountable. And that's what I mean by a localized accountability. You can create a contract that allows groups to regulate themselves and make sure that they have the power. If there's somebody that's super dysfunctional within the group, and if they're not willing to grow their relationship and communicate good, and they're not contributing as much to the rest of the group, you need to be able to hold them accountable and either kick them out of the group or put them in a position and limit their incentive in order for them to say, hey, look, you're just not producing as much. We want to limit your incentive as a group until you start producing more. That makes sure that everybody's accountable and people don't create codependency, because everyone wants to work for themselves to make sure that they're not codependent on somebody else. But the reality is we are all dependent on one another. We don't live in a bubble. Even if you're working for yourself in a business, you still want to create partnerships and create good wealth for your community. Well, this is a way that you can create a contract so that you can still work together and you're not competing against each other to get money. You can just naturally gravitate in what you need to do, and then everybody picks up their share of the pie. So this eliminates hierarchical psychology, empowers everybody in that group, and it just creates a overall better relationship, which means you're going to have growing relationships, better communication, higher average income for every position, because there's no position that's making more. So on average, the position is going to pay, every position is going to pay more than any entrance level position in any other company. And if you think about it, you're going to create, since you're opening up creativity and everybody wants to go to work, there's going to be more production. So you're going to have group creativity, you're creating group decisions, and so you're going to have much higher net profits, which means that even though there isn't a central authority here that's taking more than everybody else, on average, you're going to have more wealth for every position. And I would be willing to bet in a very short amount of time, as soon as you start being creative and you're getting your products to market, whatever that product is, every position is going to make more than the head position of our modern based wage-based financial model. So this is going to create more community wealth at the same time. So since everybody's a co-owner, everybody's able to make group decisions on how they want to spend capital, and they're all going to have access to however that capital is spent. So you're creating so much community wealth that there is no restriction for the growth of relationships, and you're creating the best possible conductor possible. So, if you have a wage-based company now, let's say you're a 500-person company, obviously you can't do this right away. This isn't something that you could just say, okay, we're going to flip our contract and this is what we're going to do. So what you want to do is create a 3, 5, 10-year plan to move in this direction. So that, because the reality is most of these positions that are created in our wage-based model are going to go away in this model. There's no reason to have them. Especially if you have a piece of decentralized software so that decentralized decisions can be made, there isn't any reason to have supervisors to force people to be compliant, because everybody has equal invested value in this company. So most of these positions will go away. This is another reason why this model becomes so much more efficient over time, because you don't need a lot of the positions that are in a control-based, wage-based model. So if you can create a 3, 5, 10-year plan to move in this direction, as long as you're creating an atmosphere of growth and everybody in that system understands, okay, this is where we're going, I like this direction, I can be more creative and work with these people and I don't have to compete for another position because I know that I'm going to end up making way more money in the long run because my profits are directly related to my productivity. So I really want you guys to think about that for a while. Think about what this means and what it could mean for society in general, if you have in our creativity in general, and how much new innovation would start popping up if you had more creativity that was unlocked in these bigger and bigger groups. You know, I've seen so much amazing potential when I go on meetings and all these people that are available for, they have so much creativity, but they're being forced into thinking more about sales and marketing because they're in competition with other people. There's so many individuals that are working by themselves that they're forced into more sales and marketing than they want to, rather than just, okay, what do I want to create? What kind of product do I want to create to market? And so this unlocks all of that energy into being creative and what kind of products you want to create, where the people that just want to do the sales and marketing can just fall into those positions and just love that job. It will open up our communities so much that I can't express it enough. If you can see the opportunity there, but you really have to inform and educate the public to make sure you know that this opportunity is there. So the final message of our little presentation here is that greed and competition is the only thing that's limiting our community's abundance. If people just start working together and in a really healthy way, then you're investing your time and energy into each other, and so you're increasing your relationships, which is what life's all about, right? The basis of all abundance is how good our relationships are, and that always makes all of our monetary situations better at the same time. So I hope you guys like this. Please like and comment, share, subscribe, and spread the word. The contract is free on my website, and hopefully I'll see you one day and maybe we'll work together.